You do not arrive at the wedding. You are already there. The white silk canopy hangs above you like a sky that forgot the sun. Cherry blossoms fall without ceremony, landing on the untouched sake cups set for a unity ritual that will never begin. The morning air is thin, sharpened by the slow drift of incense smoke that seems older than the courtyard itself. Banners sway with a sound like distant paper being torn, the only movement in a place meant to be alive with music and footsteps. Somewhere beyond the walls, the village roosters call as if mocking you. They have more witnesses to their mourning than you have to your life's most public moment. You keep your knees pressed into the wooden platform, the weight of the wedding kimono settling on your shoulders like a second spine. The lacquered red sleeves slide forward when you lift your hands, and you notice the faint tremor in your fingers. A samurai's daughter should not tremble, not in the moment of union, not in the moment of disgrace. Yet here, kneeling before empty seats, you cannot help but think of how many eyes should have been upon you, your family, his family, the groom himself, all absent, as if a silent edict had been passed that your existence was not worth attending. The pavilion is not empty. It is heavy with absence, thick with the unspoken. In Edo period weddings, alliances were cemented with sake, vows, and the quiet signing of names on scrolls that bound bloodlines together like rope. No one appearing was not merely an insult, it was a declaration of war. You have read of such gestures in chronicles: a bride left waiting, her clan humiliated before the village, the groom's absence a blade drawn without a sheath. Yet, this blade cuts differently. There is no wound to show, only a hollowing inside your chest where certainty should be. A gust of wind breaks through the pavilion, making the silk canopy sigh. It carries with it the faint scent of ash, though no fires burn nearby. You imagine it is the smell of your own ceremony turning to smoke before it even began. Your lips press together, not in grief, but in an almost polite endurance, the way you were taught to sit through pain without making others uncomfortable. The world narrows to the grain of the wood beneath your palms, the weight of the pins in your hair, the way the incense has burned low but not out, much like you. And then there is movement. A shadow spills into the courtyard from the far gate, tall and deliberate. Not the bridegroom, not a relative. The armor is mismatched, the helmet absent, the crest unrecognizable, the walk of a man who belongs to no one. He stops just short of the first step to the platform. Even from this distance, you see the road dust on his sleeves, the faint gleam of a blade that has been sharpened but not cleaned. In another life, in another hour, this could be the entrance of a guest late for the ceremony, bowing an apology. But in this life, in this hour, an uninvited man walking into a samurai wedding is as likely to carry your salvation as your death. Somewhere deep inside, a small voice asks whether you should rise and leave before he speaks, before he changes the course of your day even more than it has already been broken. Yet you stay still, watching as he reaches into his sleeve and pulls out a sealed letter, the only gift, it seems, that has arrived for you today.
You remain kneeling, though the weight of his presence tilts the air between you. The Ronin stands just beyond the pavilion step, his shadow spilling into the space where the groom should have stood. His armor is battered, lacquer chipped away in patterns that look more like old wounds than decoration. No clan crest marks his chest, an absence as loud as the silence in the courtyard. He does not bow. He does not even speak at first. Only his eyes move, assessing you with the patience of a man who has measured danger before deciding whether to unsheath it. When he finally moves, it is with the unhurried precision of someone who knows exactly how much he unsettles you. From the fold of his sleeve, he withdraws a letter sealed in black wax, the stamp pressed not with the crest, but with the impression of a single broken reed, a symbol you do not recognize. The envelope is heavy, the paper thick enough to hold not just words, but intent. In the strict etiquette of your time, A man appearing uninvited at such a moment could mean anything. A messenger delivering condolences, a spy confirming your humiliation, an assassin sent to end the matter before it begins. The rules of the samurai world were clear. Strangers at gates carried the weight of death or news worth killing for. You have been told such things in quiet lessons by women who never left the walls of your household, their voices like the rustle of sliding screens at night. His voice, when it comes, is coarse but not unkind. This was left by the groom's people. The words are plain, yet they ripple through you like cold water over stone. He does not explain why he has it. He does not explain why he is here. The only thing certain is the way his hand does not linger when he offers the letter, as if to remind you that he is no servant. You could take it. You could refuse. You could burn it here, before his eyes, and force him to carry only the smoke back to whoever sent him. Your fingers hover over the wax seal, and for a moment the air itself seems to hesitate. In your father's teachings, swords kill quickly, but words kill slowly, and letters are the most dangerous weapons of all. Somewhere deep in you, an unspoken question forms, a whisper that seems to echo from the wooden beams overhead. If you were me, would you open it, or would you let it burn before you ever learned its truth?
You break the seal, the brittle crack of wax startling in the stillness, like the first twig snapping under a hunter's step. The paper resists as you unfold it, stiff from the winter air, yet warm in places where it has been held too long by someone else's hands. The ink is dark, heavy, but in certain strokes you notice smudges, small, uneven, as though written in haste or in fear. A drop of something darker than ink marks the corner, a stain that might be blood or the memory of it. The message is not long. The words are measured, arranged with the care of someone who knows each syllable could be weighed against their life. Your fiancé has gone. He does not say where, nor if he will return. The letter claims duty called him away, yet every sentence is built on evasions, like a house standing on the thinnest of stilts. Between the lines, you see the spaces where truth has been hidden, replaced with polite phrases that do not mask their own emptiness. And then, the shadow behind the words begins to show, a reference to changes in agreement, a subtle omission of your family's honorific title, a closing line that wishes you health without wishing you happiness, the kind of deliberate absence that speaks louder than a threat. You read it again, and this time the words feel heavier, dragging you into their undertow. Your fiancé, you realize, may already be gone, siphoned away under the guise of negotiations. Or perhaps your family has already turned its allegiance to another, leaving you stranded here, just for a wedding that was never meant to happen. The scent-to-be ink lingers faintly, metallic and bitter, as if the message itself is exhaling its poison into you. Every character feels like a pebble dropped into dark water, sinking deeper, carrying you with it. The Ronin watches you read, his face unreadable, as if he already knows what the letter says. He does not ask, and you do not tell him. There's no need for him to speak. The words have already done their work. You feel them lodged inside you, a weight that will not be lifted by denial. The pavilion around you seems smaller now, its white silk walls closing in like the folds of a burial shroud. Somewhere beyond them, the cherry blossoms still fall, slow and silent, but you no longer see them as petals. Now they look like ash.
The Ronin does not move until you lower the letter, the paper trembling slightly in your grip. His eyes are steady, almost patient, as though he has been waiting for this precise moment, the space between disbelief and acceptance, when a person is most likely to do something they will regret. The wind slides through the open pavilion, lifting the edge of his tattered sleeve, revealing the scars on his forearm, pale, uneven lines that speak of steel and fire. "I can take you from here," he says, his voice carrying the weight of someone who has walked through more than one battlefield. He does not raise it, does not plead. The words fall softly, almost like a suggestion. And yet, beneath the calm, there is urgency, the kind that smells faintly of danger. He claims men will come before nightfall, not with gifts, but with blades. His tone makes it clear they will not be sent for your protection. You study him, a man in battered armor, carrying no clan's crest, offering to save the woman left alone at her own wedding. His presence here is already a violation of tradition. In feudal Japan, an uninvited man at such a ceremony could be anything: a hired assassin, a spy, or worse. His gaze does not shift when you ask him why you should trust him. You shouldn't, he replies, and something in his honesty is more unsettling than any lie could be. The choice is presented without ceremony: leave now, under his guard, or stay and wait for the ones who are coming. The Ronin says nothing of where he will take you, only that it will be away from here. Your mind turns over the risks like stones in a riverbed. Travel with a dishonored swordsman whose loyalty you cannot measure, or remain in this place that has already turned into a trap. In the silence between you, you recall the unspoken rules. A woman of your standing does not travel alone. To be seen fleeing without escort would brand you with a shame that might follow for the rest of your life. And yet, staying could mean no life at all. Outside, the banners above the gate strain against the wind, the threads pulling, fraying, breaking. You realize they will not hold until nightfall. Neither will you. Would you follow a man who admits he is killed for silver, or would you wait for those who may kill you for honor?
The Ronin does not move until you lower the letter, the paper trembling slightly in your grip. His eyes are steady, almost patient, as though he has been waiting for this precise moment, the space between disbelief and acceptance, when a person is most likely to do something they will regret. The wind slides through their open pavilion, lifting the edge of his tattered sleeve, revealing the scars on his forearm, pale, uneven lines that speak of steel and fire. "I can take you from here," he says, his voice carrying the weight of someone who has walked through more than one battlefield. He does not raise it, does not plead. The words fall softly, almost like a suggestion. And yet, beneath the calm there is urgency, the kind that smells faintly of danger. He claims men will come before nightfall, not with gifts, but with blades. His tone makes it clear: they will not be sent for your protection. You study him, a man in battered armor carrying no clan's crest, offering to save the woman left alone at her own wedding. His presence here is already a violation of tradition. In feudal Japan, an uninvited man at such ceremony could be anything: a hired assassin, a spy, or worse. His gaze does not shift when you ask him why you should trust him. "You shouldn't," he replies. And something in his honesty is more unsettling than any lie could be. The choice is presented without ceremony: leave now, under his guard, or stay and wait for the ones who are coming. The Ronin says nothing of where he will take you, only that it will be away from here. Your mind turns over the risks like stones in a riverbed. Travel with the dishonored swordsman whose loyalty you cannot measure, or remain in this place that has already turned into a trap. In the silence between you, you recall the unspoken rules. A woman of your standing does not travel alone. To be seen fleeing without escort would brand you with a shame that might follow for the rest of your life. And yet, staying could mean no life at all. Outside, the banners above the gate strain against the wind, the threads pulling, fraying, breaking. You realize they will not hold until nightfall. Neither will you. Would you follow a man who admits he is killed for silver, or would you wait for those who may kill you for honor?
The attack comes without warning. The hiss of an arrow slicing the air, the thud of its tip splintering into the dirt a hand's width from your foot. The Ronin moves before you can think, shoving you behind a boulder as another arrow shatters against the rock's face. His sword is in his hand now, the steel catching a flash of dying sunlight, and for the first time, you see his face stripped of the calm he has worn like armor. Figures emerge from the tree line above, their silhouettes jagged against the pale sky. You count 5, maybe 6. They move with the discipline of trained fighters, their feet sure even on the uneven slope. One calls out your name, not as a question, but as a certainty. The Ronin curses under his breath. His stance shifts, and in that moment, between one heartbeat and the next, the truth spills out. He was no wandering sellsword by chance. Once he wore the crest of your fiancé's father, serving in the groom's household with honor, until the day he disobeyed. The crime? Mercy, sparing a life he had been ordered to take. For that, he was cast out, stripped of title and home. Dawn bleeds slowly across the mountains, turning the mist into a pale gold shroud. You stand on the ridge, the earth damp beneath your bare feet, the cold biting at the edges of your sleeves. Below, where the wedding pavilion once rose in white silk and polished wood, there is only blackened ruin. The banners have been reduced to ash, the sake cups shattered, the ground littered with fragments of lacquer and bone. Smoke curls lazily into the morning air, as if the place itself exhales its last breath. The Ronin is gone. He left without a word, leaving only the letter pressed into your palm while you slept. The paper feels heavier now, as though the ink has soaked in more than words, as though it has absorbed every choice you didn't want to make. Inside are truths that could tear the roots from both clans, set them against each other until nothing is left but silence and graves. You read them again, the characters sharp and deliberate, each stroke a blade. The wind shifts, carrying the faint echo of bells from a distant temple. For a moment, you imagine what might have been, the voices of guests, the low hum of ceremonial chants, the weight of a groom's hand over yours. But the vision collapses quickly, crushed under the reality that you are no longer anyone's bride, no one's daughter, no one's sister. You have been erased. And yet the erasure feels less like an end and more like the moment before a blade is drawn. Without a husband, without a family, without a name, you are untethered. And in that freedom lies a weapon sharper than any sword. You could walk down into the villages and whisper the truths in your letter. You could vanish into the mountains and let the clans tear each other apart in ignorance. You could walk into the shogun's court and watch the ripples spread. The sun lifts higher, burning away the mist, revealing the long road east. Your feet begin to move before your mind has decided. Somewhere beyond these peaks, the Ronin walks alone, and the world waits for a choice you haven't yet made. If you were her, would you seek revenge or disappear into the mountains and never look back? Your wedding, he says, was never meant to bind love or even loyalty. It was a trap, a snare to fold your clan into submission, sealed with vows you would never actually speak. Your fiancé never intended to stand beside you. The letter was not a confession but a signal, a command for the Ronin to find you and kill you. Another arrow whistles past, close enough to part the strands of your hair. His eyes lock onto yours, not pleading, not demanding, but offering a choice. He will fight them, but not to deliver you to your enemies. If you take his hand now, you will be bound to a different fate, one that might destroy both clans if you choose it. The attackers are closing in, their shadows slipping down the slope like predators. His hand is outstretched. The air smells of pine sap, cold stone, and blood not yet spilled. If you learn the man beside you is sent to take your life, would you still take his hand when the arrows start falling?